This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pass over to you, put myself on mute.
Okay, so Greg, or maybe someone who is not muted yet, if you could let me know if you're seeing presentation screen or presentation
Yep,
with
we are.
notes. Okay.
Yep.
And
I'll
just
also let you know if you get a chat
Yep.
box messages, I'll let you know.
thank you. Yeah, I cannot see what's going on, so
Yeah,
let me
right.
know. And feel free to speak up, folks. So thanks everyone for making the meeting. I hope you had a wonderful holiday and Happy New Year. So we're here to talk about the Clear Roads Project 21-03, efficacy, costs, and impacts of non-chloride deicers. And Greg, did you hit record?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, perfect. And so we're going to talk about the task 2 deliverable, which we submitted a couple weeks ago, which is the survey results. So we'll talk about what we found in the survey, what we got from folks, and then the next steps, and again, the project schedule. And again, if you have any comments, please jump in at any time. So just as a reminder, the objectives of this project are to synthesize available information on specifically non-chloride deicers to allow for a comprehensive understanding by winter maintenance folks, allowing for an easy comparison between non-chloride deicers and sodium chloride, whether it's salt brine or rock salt. So we've conducted a literature search, we've done a survey, which we'll talk about now, and then the next steps we'll talk about at the end of this meeting. So again, the purpose of the survey was to capture information from local, state, and international winter maintenance agencies, as well as airports. And secondly, from the private sector, such as vendors and manufacturers, on these non-chloride products. So we want to know who's using them, how they're using them, and then from the vendors, all the information we could possibly get. And an important piece of this was, while Clear Roads maintains the QPL, the data that goes into a product being listed on the QPL is not open access for everyone. So essentially we had to go to these companies and ask for all that data that they submitted. So what did we do? Well, we developed 2 surveys. You guys had the opportunity to preview and test those. So the first was the local transportation agency, state DOT, and airport survey. And the second was a survey that went out to vendors and manufacturers. These were both web-based surveys, but also sent out in PDF form. So these could be accessed through a web link, taken as a PDF, or there was also a QR code. And these were sent to Clear Roads TAC members. It was posted on the Snow and Ice listserv. It was sent out through the TRB and APWA winter maintenance committees, and then also to known contacts, specifically with vendors and manufacturers. I'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to that section. And the survey was open for just over a month, from October 25th through November 28th. So what did we find? Well, in the transportation survey, we got 26 responses, which we felt like was a decent response rate, given the fact that we had an idea of who was using these products. So we thought we got some good coverage on that. And that represented 23 unique agencies. So we did get multiple responses from some agencies, but there is variation within those. So it's still added value information. So 12 of these agencies indicated that yes, they are using these products, these non-chloride products. 2 of them were cities, Charlotte and West Des Moines. One of them was McHenry County, Illinois. And then there were 9 individual state DOTs that responded. So we asked what non-chloride products are folks using? And by far the most common were ag-based additives or beet-based derived ag-based products. And I'll show a table next with those. But again, you know, that's an additive to usually a brine product. So we did discuss that we will create an educational fact sheet or primer for ag-based products. But again, the primary goal of this was to look at these products that are 100% non-chloride and see what's out there. So the other products listed, BioMelt, Ag 64, CMA, potassium acetate, sodium formate, SPC 5000, were specific products listed by agencies that are being used. Sand was listed, and technically it is a non-chloride product, but it is not technically a de-icer, as you guys know. So here's one of the summary tables from the Task 2 report. And this is just a list of all the ag-based products that folks are using. And you can see GeoMelt, Beet 55, Ag Beet, Beet Heat, so these are all beet-derived ag products. The great thing is we got some really good information on quantities purchased, cost price, when they use it, where they use it. So this is all going to be really valuable information as we put these educational primers and summary tables together for folks to use. Now, we also asked, why does your agency use these non-chloride based products? And this was really interesting. Most respondents indicated that they use these de-icers for performance and reduced impacts to infrastructure and equipment. 3 respondents indicated that they use non-chloride de-icers because of environmental concerns. And I think it's important to note that no one indicated that they use these products because of political pressure or concerns from the public. So really, you can see here that impacts and performance are really what's driving the use of these products. Now, there were some additional comments, and that was shown on the right-hand side in that other column. And these are the comments that were provided by the different agencies. One is a declaration to not use chlorides in certain areas and on certain structures. And so, that is a political decision, but it's also an environmental decision. So there are multiple factors that kind of feed into some of these, but it's always nice to know why folks are choosing to use these products. So the other piece we asked is if folks have performance data for these non-chloride products. By performance data, we're talking about, do you have friction data? Do you have ice melting, ice penetration, or ice undercutting data? Anything like that they've had done to kind of test how these products are performing. Unfortunately, a lot of folks don't have this data, but 2 folks provided some data to us, West Des Moines for Beet 55, and Ohio DOT provided a report that was done back in 2017, where 8 different products were tested. And I have a link actually on the next slide. Or no, it's on this slide. But in the report, there is actually a link to that report, that 2017 evaluation and analysis of liquid de-icers for winter maintenance. And then also we created a share folder that we link in the report, and that has all of this information, including that report in it as well. So you can go and see all that kind of background information that feeds into this. One of the interesting takeaways for me on this slide is that a lot of folks don't have supplemental data for these products. So they're either relying on the fact that they're on the QPL, on their own experience or experience of others, or what vendors are saying. So that's an interesting piece we didn't dig deeper on, but it might be worth exploring in the future. So one of the last pieces we asked about was, are there any success stories with the use of non-chloride de-icers? And we got some additional feedback from folks. And some of these are very specific about, switching from getting pellets and bags to going to contractor larger totes, about shipping and storage and handling of these products. So very usable, actionable information. That I think will be beneficial for folks that we can incorporate into those 1-page fact sheets for each product. So another kind of offshoot question we asked just out of curiosity was, are folks using heated pavements? It is technically a non-chloride de-icing option, but it's a little outside of what the original project intent was. And the only positive response we got was from MDT. So in terms of future exploration, maybe in a few years, if more folks are using heated pavements, it might be something to explore. But right now, we did not get sufficient responses to really explore that further. So the second survey was the vendor survey. This one was really challenging to get responses on because we were asking a lot of them. We asked for a ton of data up front. We wanted to be very honest and open with them. And the other piece of that is we were very honest and open that as they share this data, we will be openly sharing it with everyone in the project and then in the report. So basically it was all going to be open source information. So after a lot of effort and a lot of follow-up, so we did the traditional route of sending out the survey through all the methods I talked about before. But we also sent personalized emails and phone calls to 18 additional companies. And these were from the Clear Roads QPL. These were known contacts such as Scott and folks like that we work with a lot. These are conference vendors that I met at different conferences, and then other folks we found just via web searches. And so really kind of emailing and following up to get responses. So while 8 doesn't sound like a lot, the information we did get was really good from some of these vendors. So in the report, when you go to this section, there's tables set up by vendor. So the first one is Cryotech. And so for Cryotech, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 different products that they provided a ton of information on. So they provided cost information, all environmental testing results, performance testing results, any supplemental documentation. So these would be tech docs or even promotional documents for each of these individual products. And this is the information that we really need for when we put together these educational fact sheets. So Cryotech did an amazing job pulling together all this information for us. We also got information from Envirotech, 5-Star, Hawkins, Nakaras, Alpine, New Deal De-icing, Omex, and Smith Fertilizer and Grain. And when you go through the section, you'll see that some of the tables have a ton of information and some don't. And part of that was the information that they were willing to provide. And there was a lot of follow-up. So what's shown is basically the information that we will have to move forward with. Some of these products have been used in research studies. And so we can now, in the next step, move forward with incorporating the information gained from the literature review with the vendor information. And that will be a part of that fact sheet development. But I encourage you to go through this in detail. If you're specifically using any of these products or interested, you can go and find a ton of information on these in those tables. So here's a quick summary of, on the left, you can see all of the de-icers that are non-chlorides that were identified by vendors and manufacturers. And then on the right-hand side of the smaller table are all of the non-chloride products that were indicated used by transportation agencies and airports. What you can see here is that a lot of the products that we got information on from vendors and manufacturers are acetate and formate based. And some of these are used at airports, and there's been a little bit of crossover to roads, and some are traditionally used on roads. Whereas the folks from the road and transportation environment, it's a little more diverse with acetates, formates, CMA, and then a lot of the beet-derived products. So again, I mentioned we created a shared folder where you can go in and it has the task report in it. It has all the supplemental information provided by each vendor in it. So if you go and you read that tabular information and you want to see the source document it came from, you can find it in there, as well as that Ohio DOT report that I mentioned. It should all be in there. And we'll leave that folder open for the duration of this project. And then we'll link to things as they're posted on the web once the project closes. So what's next? We have two main tasks next. One will be fairly quick, and we hope to have to you within a month or two, and that's task 3. And that's really where we're going to go through and evaluate the different test methods that are used in the Clear Roads QPL, what test methods are used by vendors and transportation agencies, and see if there's any kind of missing information that would be helpful in these educational primers. And so we will essentially make an assessment and a recommendation. And then after that, as a group, we'll decide should additional testing be done in the lab? If not, fine. But if yes, we'll get that done and incorporate that information in the project. And then simultaneously, we'll also be developing the fact sheets or the educational primers on all the major categories of products. So in all likelihood, it will be an ag-based, an acetate-based, a formate-based, and then we'll maybe pick another couple to kind of fill in so that we get all the major categories covered for these products. So I'm going to skip this because I just really provided all that information. And I'll go to the project schedule. So here we are, kind of about halfway through the project, and we're still a little bit behind schedule. I'd like to spend, the next couple months fully catching up, but we do have plenty of time to get the work done. So I'm not too worried at this point in time for a late summer, early fall completion date. And with that, I will open it up to questions.
Thanks, Laura. All right, does anybody have any questions?
This is Craig. I don't have any specific questions, but I will just comment that nice summary, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the final report on this. As I've shared in the past, we've been bombarded here from the vendors that have been trying to promote the beet juice, beet type products. So I'm really looking forward to getting this end result of this. Laura, thank you.
Hi, Laura. It's Jasmine. The same. I don't really have any questions. I had some before, but you answered them all through your presentation, so thank you. I guess my question for you, as I was reading through it, and I know, because I think Tom Reniger is the one that filled out the survey. There's a little bit of information that didn't get provided, because Nebraska also uses potassium acetate in a very limited amount. So some of that survey information wasn't complete. Is it too late for me to provide you some of that? Can you edit this?
We would love to get that information.
Okay.
It's not too late. I think if like 10 states were like, oh, it would be a lot of extra work, but yeah, we could easily incorporate that. We'll just make a note that the information was received as follow-up.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're willing to spearhead that, that would be wonderful. I don't know if you want a copy of the survey or if you just want to base it off kind of what you've heard and read in the survey summary.
Yeah, I'll just respond with that document, and I'll just point out, the additional information, if that works.
That'd be great.
Yeah, thank you.
So then, based on receiving those additional responses from Nebraska, are we okay? Is the committee okay then with calling that particular task complete? Survey results? they kind of are what they are. So usually there's not a lot of revisions to be had on that kind of a task.
I would say yes.
Okay. I was about to call on you, Craig, since you're the one project champion here. Okay. I had a couple of questions or question comment. Laura, the supplemental materials you were referring to, so I really appreciate you guys putting those on your shared drive. I was also wondering, would that be something that you could put into in a large appendix or a set of appendices that we could then post on the members only page? Because sometimes that's what we'll do is we'll take a document that maybe doesn't want to be seen by the public necessarily, but the members do want to have really easy access to it. And I know they it's not that they can't get to that easily enough, but the whole TAC can get to it easier if we just put it on the members only page where everyone knows project materials are. So anyway, I was just wondering if that's something that would be possible at the end of the project. We don't have to do it now. It's just later on.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to do it. Because Carolyn and I spent some time trying to figure out the best way to share all that. So if you guys are
Yeah.
willing to host that information, that would be
Yeah,
wonderful.
and then you don't have to worry about it afterwards. I mean, as long as we
Right.
have it in something that's sort of packaged, then it's a really easy thing for us to do.
Right,
Okay.
right. What we didn't want to do was like tack it on to the end of the report, so it looks like
Yeah.
a 150 page report when it's really only a
It scares everybody away.
50
Right.
page. Yeah, exactly. So,
Yep. I
perfect.
get it. Okay. And then the only other question I had was on the upcoming task 3, you had identified in the contract a number of different categories that you were going to evaluate, 3, 7, 12. And a lot of those you said in your presentation there was some acetate-based, some formate-based de-icers. So are you still considering looking at 3, 7, 12, 13, L, S, A4 and such?
Yeah, it's more the products. Yes, we will evaluate those general categories, but to try and really stay focused on the project and only on the aspect of it that is non-chloride. So I know some of those have like the ag additives or their corrosion inhibitors or something like that. So the goal is really non-chloride de-icing products, and they may fall into that category, but yes, we'll evaluate it
Okay.
based on evaluation of non-chloride products.
Cool. Okay. That makes sense. I think that's the only questions I had. Does anybody else have anything else? So I think what we'll do then is, like I said, I've been recording this. I'll take this recording and get it to the rest of the committee. And that way they can take a look at it. Like I said, a couple folks called in or let me know at the last minute they couldn't make it, and including one of the co-champions. So I really want to make sure like Doug and Jeremy see this, as well as Patty. So anyway, we'll do that. And in the meantime, I will call the survey results complete because I know that Jasmine will get them to Laura and Laura will incorporate them. And Laura, whenever you get the final version, send it to me and I'll get it posted, but I'll still go ahead and call that complete now.
Okay.
And then you guys are going to send us some meeting notes from this too. I don't know that there's really much to say, but just maybe
Yep,
some
we'll
brief-
send the PowerPoint and the meeting notes and then the revised task 2 doc.
survey. Okay, cool. All right. Okay. Yeah, I think we're looking good.
Wonderful. Well, thanks everyone. And if anybody's at TRB next week in Washington, D.C. and wants to catch up or talk about the project, myself and Sean Ming will both be there. So we'd love to see you in person. If not, I'm sure we'll talk after next week.
Yeah.
Right. Sounds good. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, good one.
Right. See ya.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.